Here's the funny thing with charity shop hunting. You can be on the longest dry spell of all time, but you never know when just around the corner you're going to find your best charity shop find of the year.
Game pickups! Food adventure! Road trips! Live game hunting! Oh yeah!
Again, folks, and welcome back to another live game hunting episode, and this time we are hitting up tons of charity shops. And here is the thing with charity shop hunting. 9 out of 10 times you will find absolutely nothing, but it's that once every so often when you find something absolutely incredible that makes it all worthwhile. And in this episode, we have quite possibly my best find in a charity shop in 2023 so far. Trust me, you will not believe what I find this time. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's hit the road charity shop hunting. This video is a compilation of my charity shop finds for around the past 2 months around the UK, and we are starting off in the town where I grew up, Cromer on the Norfolk coast. And straight into the DVD section, here's something I always keep an eye out for: steelbooks. That's because some of these can be worth some really good money. Unfortunately, it's not the case with this one, and the same can be said of wrestling DVDs. But here's the thing, a lot of these wrestling DVDs are not worth very much. Yes, there is some of these that fetch a really nice price, but the majority are very much worthless now, just probably because of the WWE Network and most of these pay-per-views just being on demand on there. But here's the thing, opportunity is everywhere, and it's always worth checking these. I did scan all of these into the CEX app, and unfortunately there wasn't anything that was like super expensive. But I'm a massive wrestling fan, and I was tempted to pick these all up for my own collection. But here is the problem with collecting. At the end of the day, you can't pick up everything. I have a finite amount of space, and as much as I cram stuff into the games room, it is filling up. But there is an exception to the rule, and sometimes when I look at things like wrestling DVDs, I will decide on like a small subsection of what to collect. And what I've decided to do recently is only to collect WWE steelbooks, such as this one, Survivor Series 2007. That's because I think the steelbooks just give it something a bit cooler. And at the end of the day, I'm a massive steelbook fan, and the steelbooks were the same price as a DVD, and it just helps me kind of aim my collection a little bit more. It gives me that kind of direction of collecting. Rather than just picking up every single wrestling DVD I see, I will only pick up the steelbooks, or the ones that just hold like a special place in my heart, or some of the ones which are just rarer and I can trade in for CEX credit. I would have expected this Undertaker one to be worth a lot more, but unfortunately it wasn't, so I did pass on this one. But it was a very cool box set, and I was very tempted instantaneously to make an exception to my rule. When it comes to charity shop hunting and collecting in general, I love the oddities, the weird and the wonderful, the things you don't see every day, and this definitely falls into that category. This weird like Tomb Raider movie film cell display, I have no idea of the value of this. I have no idea if it's rare, common or anything, but I've never seen it before, and at the end of the day, I have no idea the value of this, but for £5 I would take a risk, even if it is in a horrific frame. Next up, we're off to Newmarket, and this is a really good town for charity shop hunting because, to be honest, there's loads of charity shops in really close proximity and a really good mix of everything you like to see in charity shops. You do see a lot of Nintendo DS games, and yes, a lot of these are shovelware, and in this case, yes, this was shovelware, but a surprisingly large amount of PlayStation 4 games here, and these were priced a little bit higher than you'd normally expect, £2 or £3 each, and most of these were pretty passable. But spoiler alert, I did pick one of these games up. But I do complain about the prices sometimes these games, but they're still good value. Not maybe good value here, these Thunderbirds commemorative plates, but you know, whatever floats your boat. And up here was a surprisingly expensive FIFA. We headed to a British Heart Foundation charity shop, and unfortunately, yes, we all know by now, these stores normally have quite high prices, and unfortunately as well, heading to the DVD and game section, we had pretty much an entire library of Xbox 360 FIFA games because, as we all know by now, sadly charity shops are where FIFA games go to die. I did flick through some of these DVDs, but unfortunately there's nothing here I even needed for the collection, or I could trade into CX for decent credit. I did also go for the spindle of DVDs, as you sometimes find some games hidden in here, and honestly, for my money, this is both the best and the most fun way to display DVDs in charity shops. I just think all DVDs in charity shops be on spindles. Like I said earlier, we all joke about the prices in the British Heart Foundation stores, but here we have Lego Ninjago for just £4, which isn't a bad price, but one of the best value things I saw today, and I did leave behind, and I regret doing it, is this PlayStation DualShock 4 controller, brand new, for just £15, which honestly is a real banger, but nothing compares to the absolute bangers I pick up at the end of this episode, so make sure you stick around for what is possibly my best pickup 23. Next up, we have the Salvation Army charity shop, and a lot of people seem to think, yes, the charity shops are filled with FIFA games, but if you are looking to build a game collection, you can get some decent titles in these charity shops. Yes, you are going to find your FIFAs, but we have Call of Duty 3 here for the PlayStation 2, a fantastic game. Unfortunately, I already have it. Hitman for the PlayStation 2, Call of Duty Finest Hour, Operation Flashpoint, Need for Speed Underground. You can find some absolutely amazing video games in charity shops. On to our next charity shop, and here is the thing with charity shop hunting. It is all about persistence. You can go to 10, 20, 30 charity shops and find absolutely nothing, but it's that one time when you find something that's brilliant that makes it worthwhile. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't this time, but always keep an eye out, because hiding down here with these Guitar Hero Live guitars, they were a little bit overpriced, and I think they were missing the wireless receiver, so I did pass, but this is a thing. Charity shops display their games in different ways. There was no games here in the DVD section, but just behind on top of a closed shelf was a little pile of games. Unfortunately, nothing much to write home about here, but if you're building a collection, these games for £1 each are a nice little way to add to your collection. On to our next charity shop, and there's one thing that always surprises me about charity shops is how quick some FIFA games get into charity shops, because I think now when the new FIFA comes out, it just makes the last year's FIFA absolutely irrelevant. But at the end of the day, if you're not looking for like the teams to be fully up to date like myself and just to play a football game, it's probably a way to pick these games up on the cheap. Here we are at our final charity shop in Newmarket, and this is a big one, but we do not judge our charity shops by size, we judge them by their content. So it's quite a long walk here to the back of the store to get to the DVD and hopefully game section. As I said though, this is a massive charity shop, and here we have a massive DVD section. Now the problem is, yes, there are some DVDs out there that are worth a decent amount of trading credit, but it takes a lot of time to find them unless you know exactly what you're looking for, and unfortunately there was a very small pile of games here, mainly PC games, which most of the time, like FIFAs, come to charity shops to die. There were some bangers here such as Soldier of Fortune and also Battlefield 1942, one of my favourite PC games of all time. Now there was one more game hiding in this charity shop, Battlefield 3 for the PlayStation 3 for the sum of £8. Now I do quite often go through the clothing sections in charity shops because, unbeknownst to a lot of you the viewers, this is where I find a lot of my t-shirts for these videos, because you can find some absolute retro bangers in these shops. Sadly, not today. Just down the A11 from Norwich, we are in Attleborough, and straight into our first charity shop, we have a lot of DVD box sets. And again, these can trade in for some really good money if you find the right ones, but it's not every box set which is worth good money, but you can slowly build the knowledge from watching videos such as mine and others to learn which box sets are worth picking up. But it just takes a moment to scan these on the CEX app, and honestly, some of these are surprisingly worthwhile. But heading down here, we are looking for video games, and if you collect for the PlayStation 2, charity shops are just a fantastic place to look, especially for some of these filler titles, the SingStars, the sports games. Charity shops are always going to be full of a lot of these titles, and if you can pick them up really cheap, it's just a fantastic way to build for a console, especially like the PlayStation 2, which isn't too expensive at the moment, and also 3D Blu-rays, something I love collecting. I already have that one, otherwise I'd have picked it up, especially with that lenticular cover. I did pass on Black Eyed Peas though for the 360. Now, most sports titles I can take or leave, but here's one I already have in the collection, otherwise I definitely would have grabbed it. Sensible Soccer. Definitely one of my favourite football games of all time. Haven't actually played this PlayStation 2 version yet, but if it's anything like the 16-bit games, I'm sure it is an absolute banger and definitely worth picking up, much like Piranha 3D. Now, we've spoken quite a lot this episode about selling DVDs and DVD box sets. Now, Blu-rays, yes, you can still get some decent CX credit for these, but something I've never looked into selling before is CD box sets. I have no idea what these really are, but if the charity shop is selling them for a £5, maybe it's something I need to look into. So let me know in the comments down below if you've ever had any luck selling CDs. I think they just are an item at the moment where the market is so low. I'm not really sure if they're worth reselling, but I could be wrong. So if you have been selling CDs recently online, let me know in the comments down below. It'd be really interesting to know if I'm missing out. Now, normally if I was going through Attleborough, I would visit the incredible independent gaming store Omega's Emporium, but unfortunately that was closed today when I visited, so on to the next charity shop. And hiding in the toy section is something I wasn't really expecting to see, this Dark Souls lunchbox. Now, I really like these kind of retro-inspired tin lunchboxes, and for £2.50, yeah, I think this is pretty cool to pick up, either for my collection or to sell on eBay or to trade with a collector who really needs this Dark Souls item in their collection. Nice little pickup in the most unsuspecting of places. Now again, this charity shop did have an absolutely ginormous wall of DVDs, and to be honest, these sometimes can be off-putting because there's so many to look through, but there was only 2 video games to look through here, both £2 each. I already had both in the collection. If not, I would have picked both of these up, especially Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which is a fantastic game. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, I definitely recommend trying this one out because the physics are great. Next up, we're headed to Cambridge, and straight away I managed to find a steelbook of Skyfall 007. A really good film, but I did pass on this steelbook, even though it was a pretty cool one to be fair. Hiding at the bottom of the shelf here was some video games, some pretty good Xbox One bangers in here. Sunset Overdrive, one of the best value games there is. Fallout 4, another amazing value game for £2. That's a lot of content. And a game here which I've never seen before, Battlestar Galactica. Never knew there was a PC game for Battlestar Galactica, so let me know in the comments down below if that's a game I need to check out. Next, charity shop, and yes, unfortunately, lots and lots of FIFA. I genuinely wonder if in one day you went round enough charity shops, you could get every single FIFA game in one day. I think that might be a future challenge. I was super excited here as I thought I saw the Harry Potter Blu-ray box set, but it was the DVD box set. If that had been the Blu-ray box set, that would have definitely been worth picking up as that trades in for some decent credit. I did think this Transformers DVD was a steelbook. Unfortunately, it wasn't. That would have been really cool. Round here we had some comics, and this is the problem. I do collect comics, not hardcore, but I do pick up what I like. But I know some of these comics can have some good value, but unfortunately, I don't have the greatest knowledge on these comics, so I did pass on these. Normally, if I pick up a comic, unfortunately, I do have to literally judge it by the cover. Nothing really caught my eye here, so I passed. Next shop, and just a one lone PlayStation 3 game here, Need for Speed Undercover at £1.50. This would have been a good pickup, but this is the problem. This is how I've built my game collection over the years, and it's very rare I see a game that I need now in a charity shop, but I will always keep looking because you never know when that best banger is just round the next corner. Now, this is normally a bad sign. All console games here are marked as £3, and at first I thought it was all Wii shovelware, but there was a hidden PlayStation 3 banger, which annoyingly I did pass on. I do wish I'd picked this one up for £3. This would have been a pretty good value pickup, but I passed. Recently I was on holiday in Derbyshire and went to Bakewell on a rainy Monday morning and found this copy of Coraline on DVD. Now, Coraline is a weird one because the price of this fluctuates. Around Halloween it actually trades in for some decent money. I was quite amused here to find there was quite a few Blu-rays, and hidden amongst them was some HD DVDs. Yes, the format that unfortunately did die. I did for a long while keep collecting these HD DVDs and realised unfortunately I haven't got enough room to collect everything, so I did stop it. Our final stop this time is the small town of Buxton, nestled in the heart of the Peak District. And little did I know this was to be the location of my best charity find so far of 2023. No, it is not Ridge Racer 7, which is a very good pickup nonetheless. There were some really good games here, but it started out as any other day. A couple of PlayStation 3 games, some decent Xbox 360 games. Nothing to write home about, but nothing could prepare me for the next charity shop. This is one of the craziest charity shops I've ever been to. This was the game that caught my eye across the store. God of War collection for the PlayStation 3. That is a certified banger, but it was at this point I realised there was an absolute stack of PlayStation 3 games here, and they all looked good. We are talking high-end PlayStation 3 games, Japanese exclusive NTSC games, just the perfect thing to find in a charity shop. Rare PlayStation 3 games are starting to command a very high price, and every game I picked up was just getting better and better. Banger after banger. I was building an absolute stack of games here, and even better, all of these games were only £1 each. And it was not until I totaled up the total value of these games that I realised how good this find was. Finds like this do not happen very often, but when they do, it makes charity shop hunting worth it. Here we are then, back in the games room. It just goes to show, when you are charity shop hunting, it is all about persistence. I was on a real dry spell, then right at the end of the hunt I managed to come across something absolutely amazing, and we also have some fantastic pickups this time to add to the collection. The thing is, with collecting, you cannot add everything to your collection, as hard as I do try. You do have to pass on some things. I did see absolutely tons of amazing WWE DVDs, but the only ones I did pick up were these steelbooks. So we have Survivor Series 2008 with John Cena on the front, which is a really nice steelbook, as well as this one with the Rated R Superstar Edge on the front as well. I'm a massive wrestling fan, and I'm not going to just pick up every wrestling DVD I see, but if it's a steelbook, I think I will grab it for the collection. I have a general rule when I'm out hunting. If it's something I've never seen before, I will look into it. And this was something of an oddity, and I think it's pretty cool. It's this Tomb Raider film cell, and it is framed, and it does have a certificate of authenticity on the back. And at the end of the day, for £5, I thought I'd take a gamble on this one. I have no idea what this is worth, but for £5, I thought it was worth the risk. Like I said, I like adding oddities to the collection, and you may be wondering why I picked up this game, Tour de France, which ironically is actually in French. It's just because it's just one of those games that you just don't see very often. I see sports games all the time, racing games, the FIFAs, the kind of games you see all the time, but a Tour de France game? Never seen it before. I don't really know what it's worth, but for £2, again, I thought I'd take a gamble. Yet again, another oddity here. This Dark Souls lunchbox. Now, I really love these kind of tin lunchboxes. I think this was like £2, and again, at the end of the day, it's a kind of weird oddity like that that I either want to add to my collection, or someone out there wants this for their collection. Our final pickup this time is quite arguably my best charity shop find of 2023. So far, there isn't exactly much of the year left, but this is one of the craziest charity shop finds I have ever found. All of these games were £1. Now, with all of these games, pretty much, I took a risk. I had no idea exactly what they were worth, but a lot of these are American games or Japanese games, and it's these niche PlayStation 3 games that can be worth a lot of money. And regardless, for £1 each, these were an absolute bargain. So first off, we have Ratchet & Clank Quest for Booty. I already have this one in the collection, but I know, this being a Ratchet & Clank game, it'll trade in for at least a decent little bit of money in CEX. Next up, we have some of the PlayStation 3 HD collections. Now, some of these are fantastic ways to play some of these absolutely classic games. Some of them, like the Silent Hill one, aren't too great. But first off, we have Zone of the Enders HD collection. Now, you may notice this is the American release, but here is the advantage of collecting for the PlayStation 3. It is region free, so I'll still be able to play this on my PAL PS3. Next up, we have a game which I probably will sell because I already have the PAL release, the God of War collection. But then again, also I could keep this one as I can still play it and trade my PAL one into CEX. Finally, we have, these just keep going. As I said, this is a crazy find. The Jak and Daxter HD collection. Again, a fantastic way to go back and play these games, and an expensive game if I'd bought this in CEX. But now we're getting on to a lot of the Japanese games. Now, some of these are very obscure. I don't know the names of these, but some of these hold some really good value. So I'm going to go through these. I'm going to put some sold listings up on the side of the screen. And some of these are absolutely crazy. I actually had to do the maths on how much this bundle was worth, and it is mind-blowing how much these games are worth. There is 13 games here, and for each one I paid just £1. These are all complete in absolutely fantastic condition, and these are the kind of games you do not see very often. And if nothing else, these are the kind of games I want to add to my collection, because who knows when I will see some of these games again. And these games have a high value, and these will probably only go up in value. And this one is definitely the heaviest hitter. I did not know at the time, but this game commands a high price. And at the end of the day, remember, I paid £13 for this pile of games. There's over £200 worth of games here. It just goes to show, charity shop hunting is all about persistence, as you never know what's around the corner. There we have it then, folks. That is another episode absolutely chock-a-block with charity shop finds. And I hope it restores your faith in charity shop hunting, as it really goes to show you never know what's around the next corner. But comment below, what is your best charity shop find so far of 2023? I don't ever want to say never, but I really doubt I'm going to find anything that good in the remainder of 2023 again, but you never know. That is the beauty of charity shop hunting. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See you all soon.